Hello, 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 Omni here, and today we're playing CiniCross, a Picross-inspired roguelike game. A tutorial, yes please. Okay, we've got the standard kind of roguelike map. Hey, hello there, welcome to the dungeon. Let's start with the basics. See this tree structure? That's the map. You'll have to explore the dungeon from bottom to top, all the way to the boss. So choose a place to visit first. I guess that's at the bottom then. Here's your first nonogram. Do you see that grid? It represents the most common challenge you will encounter. The principle is quite simple. To complete this nonogram, you must fill in all the correct boxes. To do this, you need to use the clues. These are the small numbers on the sides of the grid. Each clue tells you which groups of boxes to fill in. Each group is separated by at least one empty box. For example, this column has 5 cells to fill in. Since the grid is 5 by 5, there is only one possibility. Yeah, we must fill all the cells in this column. Okay, nice. There you go. That's it. Now let's talk about crosses. You can place crosses with your right click on the boxes that you know are empty and should not be filled in. For example, this line is already complete. It's because the index is grey. You can therefore fill it in with crosses using your right mouse button. Cross. Great. Let's continue. Now we can do all of this because we know that's 4 and there's only 4 left. Very good. Now let's take care of this. So that's a 1, a space, and then we need the 3. 2 boxes are already filled in, and you know that there is one group of 1 box and one group of 3 boxes. Keep in mind that the clues are given in order. Try to fill in the line. You seem to have grasped the basics. There are nonograms that are much larger and more complex than this one. You will learn various techniques to overcome this on your own. I'll let you finish filling out the grid on your own. Okay, so there's one more in here. So this one's already filled in. This one needs one more, so it's there. There we go. Well done, you completed your first nonogram. At the end of each nonogram, you will receive useful rewards to help you progress. For example, you earn gold to spend during your ascent of the dungeon. Time is also added to your stopwatch. I'll explain its usefulness later. Look, you found an artifact. Artifacts are ancient objects that grant you passive buffs. They can be of different rarities. Try to get as many as possible to progress more easily. Get it by clicking on it. So what have we got? So it's up in the corner, the description. If you have gold left, each error removes 30% and no HP. Right. Stick. Against the boss, every 5 blocks placed deals 1 damage. Okay, let's get that one. Let's assume we're going to get to the boss. And continue. So they're both the same. A difficulty 0 nonogram. A new nonogram. This time I'll leave you alone from start to finish. Before that, I would like to talk to you about time and life. Here is your life indicator. If it drops to 0, you lose the game. In general, mistakes will cause you to lose lives. The larger the nonogram, the greater the damage. And here is your timer. If it reaches 0, you'll lose HP. It counts down during the nonograms. As I've already told you, solving nonograms gives you time. Remember that the higher the floor, the faster the time goes by. Exceptionally, time does not pass during the tutorial. Consider this floor as a practice. Come on, it's your turn. Okay, so this is another 5 by 5, so we want to look up for ones that add to 4, which this one does. So we know this is it 3 first and then 1? Or 1 and 3? Let's do 3 first. And then a space, then a 1. Okay, so we know that's good. We know this is a 2, then a 1. No, we don't. Oh, sorry, it's that way first. Always outside to in. So that's a 1, space, 2. This one is just a single 2, so it's either there or there, so I don't think we know. In fact, we do know it's not that one. So it's there. This one is, we need 2 more 1s in here, which have to be there and there. Which means this one has to be there, and that one's there. Okay, 1 error there. Look, this time you got an item too. Items can be stored in your inventory slots by dragging them. These are single-use consumables. They will get you out of bad situations. Retrieve it by dragging it to your inventory. So a Simon's Orb adds a copy to a random artifact you have attained. Okay. So what have we got? We've got a bronze coin, which increases the HP gain. And another stick. Let's get the HP one this time. The next place you will visit is not a nonogram. There are other types of locations in the dungeon that will help you progress or not. A campfire will heal you. A store will offer you items in exchange for gold. See you at the boss. Okay. The altar. Would you like to make an offering? What can I offer? Sacrifice. The gods have been merciful. So we've now got a void worm. If you have gold left each error moves 30%. I don't really understand what that means. Maybe that'll become clear later. What? 30% of what? Okay, so we're 5. So we know that one's a 5. We know that one's like that and that because of the 1s, and we know there's a space. This is a 2, then a space, and then we know it couldn't be there. It could be here though. In fact, we know that's like that. That makes that has to be that. That's a 1 and a 3, so that's like that. 2 and 2. Nice. We got a rare, or an uncommon. 3% chance of revealing filled cell column. I'm not sure if the English is quite right on this. Chance of revealing filled cell column. Let's try that. I thought I could get 2 then, and I've been missing out. Here we are at the top floor. Each boss has its own special rule. They represent a greater challenge, but the rewards are also greater. So the rule, the dummy. Every 10 seconds, the dummy recovers 1 HP. Okay, there's the HP bar. Every 10 seconds, yeah, we just... See that bar on the right? That's the boss's life. Placing a block or completing a nonogram allows you to inflict damage on him. Certain artifacts will help you defeat them more easily. The nonograms will continue until the boss perishes, or you. This one should be pretty straightforward. Good luck. Okay. So about 1/5 of the way through already. Oh, miss. That was silly. I just saw the 2 there. So I took some damage there. 2 damage. So you're there. What are you? So you must be there and there. Okay, so we've done over half health. So what are we looking for? This one's a bit more tricky. So this one's got 3, so is that... would I just be guessing? So our timer's not going actually, so we've got some time to think about this. So what's the trick here? We haven't got anything that adds up to 4 or a 3 number 1. What's the logic we use to determine where this should be? So this has only got 2 in, which until we work something out is not going to help us. So these all have 2 in. This needs to have a 2. I don't know how to work this out. There's only 1 in this whole column. Does that help us in some way? So these only have 2 in. But I mean, they could be anywhere at the moment. Don't really want to guess. My gut is the 3 is there, but that's just complete. I mean, that was just a guess. I can't explain why I felt like that was correct. So what does that actually buy us? So that one can have 2. So I want to do that one and that one, but I can't explain why. It needs to be a 1 first anyway. And that, it could be that. Yeah, so that means that is helpful. That's definitely a 1 because we couldn't have the 2 with a gap. But now the 2 could be there or there. So that's 1, so that means that has to be 1. And now we've got 1 more here somewhere, but we don't know where. So we've got a set of 2 here somewhere, but we also don't know where. So I'm missing some logic on how to work this out. So I mean, it could be there. Nope. Which means it has to be there. Okay, so we know this is all blank now, which now means that has to be that and that. Which means that has to be there, which means that one has to be there, and those 2 have to be there. Yeah, didn't like that we had to guess. So we did poorly there, so we didn't do any damage. But now this is far easier. Oops. Wow, you did it. Pretty poorly though. For the next level on, the difficulty will increase and time will begin to pass. I will also have to reset your objects and artifacts. It's time to say goodbye. Good luck and all the best to you. So what's this? A legendary automatically places crosses in completed row or column. Oh, we can select 2. The Who Gauntlet. Avoid the mistake made every 20 mistakes. So we're expecting to make lots of mistakes? Oh, and we got an item. What's this? A cross slingshot. Fill in cells in the selected area in a cross shape. Okay. You defeated the dummy. This is the end of the tutorial. Your artifacts, items, and cell. That's a shame. Okay, that's a much bigger map. The higher difficulty is the greater reward. So let's do the higher difficulty one. Okay, what's this little cross mean? Do we know that's 5? That's a 6, so that must be somewhere around here. So 111 is a good one. So 1 and 3 is also an easy one to work out. 1 and 2 not so much. So this is a 2. So it's probably not there. So that's probably there and those 2. But why? Well, it can't be there. So it has to be there, because otherwise this would be upset. Which now means this 6 has to be like that. Right, 3 and 1. So this is expecting it to be a 2, so it has to be there actually. Which means that and that. Now this 5 means that it has to be that. These are both 4s. That's a 2. And that's a 4 at the top. So we've got a 1 and a 1. Okay, cool. That's pretty easy, or felt pretty easy. So we can select 2 artifacts. Oh, nothing. So we need to get the Who Gauntlet, which avoids a mistake. And another one of those. So we've got times 2. Oh, which just means every 19 now. Okay. Okay, I've got 5 here as well. So this is a 3 and a 1, so that's easy, which means that's the 4. That's a 1, that's a 3, and then that's a 3. Okay, nice and easy. So we can get the, against a boss, every 5 blocks placed deals 1 damage. Okay, we'll get that again. We're going to go over here to get this 2-1. So a 4. Right, yeah, so this is where I struggle, where there's not some obvious way to know where we should be beginning. So this is a 2 and a 1. So it could be there, and then 1 down here or here, or it could be there and there and 1 down here. So that, I don't think that's helpful. So this 4 means that... okay, maybe this is how we do it. So we don't know exactly which one this falls in, but we know it has to be at least these 3. Which now means this 3 needs to be definitely those 2, and then it's either there or there. So what else can work out? So this 2 and 2 is helping us, actually. So we know that's like that. And now this 2... excuse me. That 2 isn't helping us just yet. But we've got a 1 and a 2 here. We know it can't be this one. So that has to be a 2. And then a 1 in one of these, but we don't know which. It's a shame. So we know, so for the 1s up here, it's got to be that. Oh, I was thinking it has to be that one because we know, it can't be 2 in a row. So the 1 can't go there, which means that has. Now, why was I thinking that? Oh. For some reason, I keep reading these numbers the opposite way around. I was expecting the 2 to be on this side. And similarly, I was expecting this to be the 2. But it's not. That's further down, and in this case the 2 is to the left. So that is the 2. Lost some HP. Oh, we're nearly out of time actually. But I think I've sussed the technique now where we have to do, even if we don't know where all of the 1s on a line are, we know where we can work out where some must be, which means that one's 1. And then so for this 3, we know it's this one, which means that one. And then so that must be that one, and that must be that one. Okay, we burned a lot of time there. What's this? An uncommon cause rune. Increase the percentage of HP recovered at a campfire. Let's do that. Let's do the level 2. Okay, getting big now. So 1, 2, 5. So we're 10 by 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4, 6, 7. So with 4 numbers, so that means it's going in order. So it's 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. Is this the same here? So not quite, actually. 1, so it'd be 1, then a space, 2, space. Oh yes, so that's the same kind of deal. But we're going to run out of time on this, unfortunately. Only 1 in this column, that's a 3 and a 3. Yeah, we're dead, unfortunately. Oh no, we just lost HP. Okay. Right, let's look for what else we've got going on. Are we losing a amount of HP every few ticks, do we? So 1, 1, 1, 1. Oh, now that I'm losing HP, the pressure to think is making my brain go completely blank. It's like being asked a question at school or being faced with an exam suddenly. I can't think at all. Yeah, so I wonder if there's something still missing in terms of the kind of logic we're using. So we've definitely got the logic of, even if we haven't got a 10 or big numbers, we can use the logic of, if we include counting the spaces, we can work it out like that. So Oh, right, yeah. Then we need to make sure we fill any ones in that we know, especially if we've got an edge. And the flame flickered out. We did get some XP. Oh, we get some bonuses there by the look of it. Let's try that again. So no tutorial, straight into the game. So we can start off straight away with level 2. Let's try it again and let's just try and understand it a bit more. So 1, 1, 1, 2, space 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. A 4 and a 3. So that could be there. That could be there. So that could be 3. That couldn't. I suppose that still could be 4s actually. A 3 and a 4. 1 space, 1 space. Or a few spaces, 2. Yeah, so what's the logic? Oh, it actually tells me which one I've done. So we know there's a space and a 1 here. So we know there can be nothing beside this one. But this is incomplete. Ah, so we know this is a 2. So it's most likely that way. Click. And we don't... Oh, we know this is a 2 as well because it's not grayed out. Ah, but it could be that way, of course. Yep. Got to follow everything to the logical conclusion. So it could be there. So let's say if it's those are the 3, space. So the 4 isn't there. But these all could be the 4. So that's the 4. So now the 3 could be there. It's definitely there. So it could be there or there. We just don't know yet. This is... I was going to say that's the 1. This is the 2. Which means that's wiped. So we've got 1... So these can only be 1s at the top now. So it's definitely not that one. Could be that. It's definitely not that one or that one, in fact. And it could be any of those. So all of these are dead. Oh, which means that 3 is here. So we've done that 2, which means those 2 must be a 2. There's a 1 down here somewhere, which all we know is it's not that one. So 1, 1, 1. So we've got a 4 and a 2. So those have to be the 4. So the 1 could be there. But this has to be a 2. But it could be there or there. We don't know. So that is the 2 because it's not grayed out. And why did I think that? So I thought the 2 had to come first. The 1 isn't marked off. So I assumed that had to be the 2. Am I reading this wrong? Maybe I'm too dumb for this. Maybe we're jumping to higher difficulty. Maybe we need to kind of work out some of the other mechanics on the more simple nonograms first. So let's go this way, and we'll go through some easy ones and see if we can work out what's going on. So there's none in this row. So there's a 1 and a 2, which means there has to be a 2 there. So one of these is a 1. This is a 1 and a 2. Could be either. That's a 4. So we know at least... Oh, I started right-clicking them, but I knew I didn't want to click. But it was too late. So we know there's a 1 up here. So that's a 2 and a 2. So that's the 4 done. So it's not that. So that 2 is there. This has got a 2, so it must be that one. That must be there. And it must be that one. So what we've got, Crystal Orb reveals a random cross every 30 cells completed. Bronze Coin increases HP gains. Let's do that one. So we're to the shop. Oh, they're very expensive. We've only got 20 gold. So the gold spoon, double your max gold by 1,000. Simon's Orb, create a copy of an artifact. Okay, on to the next one. So we've got 5. We've got a 3 and a 1, which means it's got to be that. We've got a 1 and a 2, and the 2 isn't happy, so the 1 needs to be there. That's the 2. And we've got another 1, which must... so the 1's not grayed out here, so am I... Am I actually wrong about the rules? Because one of those 1s should have been grayed out there, I think. Unless that was a bug. Sif's Arrow. Reduces the number of cells to be completed by -2. To activate the effect of complete by -2. So we've got a 4 here, so we know it must be those at least. So these 1s are done. This 2 isn't, so that must be there. This is a 3 in a row, so it must be that one. This is a 1 and a 2. This is a 2. So this wants a 2 first. So it can't be that one, so it must be there. And then the last one must be here, because none of these want a 2. That's the 1, so that must be a 2. And then both of these are 2s, so they need to be there. So that's the 1. And then that's the 4 and 3. Increase the maximum HP by 40. Let's do this one. I'm not sure I've seen any of the benefit of any of the artifacts yet. That may be because I'm not surviving long at all. Let's place something on the altar. Oh, I haven't got anything to do that. That was a waste. Right, a 1 and a 3. A 1 and a 2, or a 2. So a 2 and a 1. That could be either of those. So it's definitely not that, and definitely not that. Okay, we got an artifact bonus there. Yeah, maybe the key is we need to start filling in the crosses when we can as well. So there's only 1 in this row, which means these are 2, so it has to be on this row, it has to be there or there. This wants there to be a 2. This one wants a 1 and a 2, which means it has to be there, which means that one has to be it. Can we work anything else out yet? So that can still be there or there. Again, the greyness of this, I mean, that can't be a 3, so that must be the 1. which means that's the 2. And so the 1 is there, and then that's there. Increase the maximum HP, or do more damage to bosses. Okay, almost at the boss. Right, 3, so that must be 1. Which means that's a 2. 1, 1, 1 means that. So that's got the 1 there. Yeah, okay, so it sometimes isn't graying them out. So it can't be that one or that one. Can't. Oh, it could be those. Sorry, I was going to say it can't be that. Can't be that or that. 1. So that's a 2. So that could be either side there. This only wants 1, which it can't be there. Can't be there. So this 2 actually has to be over here. So that 2's done. So it's not that one. Could be either of those. We don't know. That could still be either. 1, and so that actually can't be there. So that has to be there. So what we've worked out. So this 1 needs to be one of these, which we still don't know. In fact, that's the bottom one, so that one isn't it. So it's one of these 2. And I don't think we've got enough information. Or do we? So only one of these can be... Oh no. Yeah, only one of these can be a 1. And similarly, only one of these can be a 1. But one of these has to be a 1 because of the 3. Yeah, I was just guessing. Do you have to guess? You shouldn't have to guess. I don't know if I'm missing some gap in the logic. Right, 1, 1, 1. 3 must at least be there. So that wants it to be a 2, so that's the 3. That can't be any of these. So that one is a 3. So nothing in here now. In fact, this can't be in the top. That's there. Which means that must be. Which means that must be. Oh, and nothing. Bronze coin, that's all we can pick anyway. Right, let's see if we can tackle the boss. So each error inflicts 2 times more damage on this boss. Okay, the balance. Okay, so a 3, so we know that's 1, we know that's 1, we know that's 1. Okay, is that enough? So 1 space 1 space 1 2 3 space 1. So we probably can tell one of these is, but I'm not quite sure on the logic. 1 space 1 space 1 2 3 or 1 2 3. So these. That was us doing damage to him then, not us making a mistake. So one of these 2 are, but we just don't know which way it is at the moment. So that must be 2. So that must be there, which means these ones are not. This is a 3, so that could be there. We don't know enough about that yet. Those 2 can't be. So that could be either there, and that also could be either. We know that's there. So 2 and a 1. So that has to be there. 1 and a 1, so that has to be there at least. And we know this 2 can't be, could it? That 2 could be there and there. And that 2 could be there as well. So we don't know enough information about that. So do we know that that's 1 now? That's a gap. So that could be the 3 there still, or that could be. And we don't know if that could be or not. We don't know if that is or isn't. One space, and then 2 across this entire region. 2, 1. Yeah, I am just completely fumbling some kind of logic here. I'm just going to guess. That's a 2. There's that. No. So these are the 3, which means the 2 must be over here, actually. Is that the 1? Which means that's the 1. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to go back to school and learn how to do nonograms, I think. I feel like, I wonder if I'm struggling. I wonder if there's some trick I'm not understanding. Right, we're going to do one more run. I've gone away and I've looked up some tips and tricks to nonograms, and I feel like I've got them down now. So I wasn't missing any major trick. It's stuff like looking for the overlap areas and counting up the max row lengths. So we'll try and do some tricky ones. So we'll start, does that mean, it doesn't seem to be a line. Let's go to this one so we can go to the level 1 difficulty. So for this 4, we'll do the overlaps. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll work from the top. So we know that's a 2, that's a 2, which means that must be a 2. That's a 1, so that can't be. This one's a 2, and it could be there or could be there. Okay, so this is the 2, so that must be the 1. We've got a 1 here, so it could be there or there, but it can't be there or there. That can't have any. So these are 1s, which means those 2 can't, so that must be the 1. And so the 1 could be, so that has to be 2s because that was the 1. And then the 4 has to be there for the 2. Okay, so it's about using the rules and making sure we cross things out because it's going to help us see the possibilities more clearly. So let's do the slightly harder one. So we've got 15 across, so we've got 6. So let's try and find one where we've got it. So there's 6 there. So 6 plus 3 is not 10. So we want to try, yeah, so in these scenarios where we've got no big ones, let's do overlaps. So a 3 and a 1, we know has to be that. A 2 and a 2 has to be that. 1, 1, 1 has to be that. 2 and a 1 we don't know, 2 and a 1 we don't know. 3, we just know the overlap there. Okay, so now we can use this. We know that can't be there. That's got to be a 3. Can't be there. This 3 is now this. Let's do that. This 2, so it can't be there, can't be there, so this 2 has to be there, which means that's done. That's a 1, that's a 1, so that can't be done. So what have we got here? So we've got 3s, so we've got a 2 coming from the edge, we've already got the 1, so that has to be it, so none of these are it now. And this is a 2, so that needs to be it. That can't be it, so that has to be the 2, which means that can't be it, that's the 1. 2, so that can't be it, so that's the 1 there. This also wants it to be a 2, so space 1. That can't be it. That could be it. So we've got a 2, so that's got to be there, that's a space and a 1. This needs to be a 3, which is there, so it can't be that. No more in this column, no more in that column, and in fact it's there. Okay, starting to feel a bit more attainable now. The Ice Greatsword, each completed row or column slows down time. That sounds good. Bronze Coin increases HP, reduce all damage received. Let's do the damage received. Okay, so up to a level 0. So 2 and 2 have to be like that. That's a 2 there, 2 and 2 again, in fact. So that's a 1, so it can't be there, can't be there. So that's a 1, so we don't know where that is. So 1, 1, 1 is like that. No more in this column. 1, so it can't be there, can't be there. So that could be an either or. That has to be there, that has to be like that. So it's there. They're both the same anyway, so it doesn't matter which one we pick. Another level. Okay, so it's 0. Which basically means these are all just 4 height now. So it can't be there. That's a 2. So no more in this column, no more in this row, sorry. That's a 1, so it can't be there. That has to be there, which means not in that column, which means that one needs to be there, which means that's the 2. No more in that column, there. So Crystal Orb reveals a random cross every 30 cells. Shield again. Let's do the random cross. What's this? The altar. We haven't got anything for the altar. Right, a level 2. Okay, so we've got 10 across. So that's 5 plus 3. And there's 3 numbers. So 5 plus 3 is 7, plus 2 is 10. So we know this is completely filled in. Gap 1, gap 1, 2. 4 and 4 is not enough. And we'll come back to overlap in a minute if we need to look at overlaps. So 3, 3, 1, right, 4. Okay, let's start thinking about overlaps with the 4s. So if there's 4s, there needs to be a space between them. So that's 9. So the only thing we don't know is if they're butted up against the edge. So we know those 3 must be. And then either of these could be a gap, and then we know these 3 must be. Right, a 3 and a 5 here. So we know that could be the 3. And then it's probably these 3 here. Yeah, I'm not quite sure on the math of that overlap, actually. Right, 2, 1, 1, 1. Yeah, so what do we know for sure? That it's not, I mean, there could be a 1 there, but there can't be there or there. Oh yeah, sorry, I need to use my brain sometimes. Can't be there. So this 3 could be either. This is a 2, most likely. So this is a 7 and a 1. There's a big overlap here. So 7 and a 1 plus the 1 for the gap is 9. So those 5 are definitely. Is it 6? Yeah, so those 6 are definitely, and then it's either one of those, and then it's either one of those. So then that helps us do, so we know that's a 3, so it can't be there. We know that's a 3, so it can't be there. 1, 1, so we know those 2 are good. We know that's the 4 now, so, but we don't know which one's down here. We know there's a 3 near the top, but we don't know any more than that. So 2, we know that's a 2 and a gap. That's 2 and a 3, so that helps us here. And then doesn't help us anymore just yet. So we know that's a 2. So that's the 3 done. So we know that one isn't it. So that's the 7 and that's the 1. Okay, I was starting to get the grip of it a bit there. Okay, let's try last chance. Alright, let's start straight away on level 1. Okay, I've gotten a bit lucky here. Right, 5 and 5. And then that has to be it because of the 5, and we just don't know which way that's going just yet. A 9. So that's do the overlap, and we just don't know if it's this way or that way. These are all 1s, so we know that's a 3. We know that's a 2, which means that that's like that. These are 1s. So a 1 and a 3, so that's there, which makes that 9 there. And then that's done with this row, done with that row and column. In fact, all this area of the board's done. So we've got a 3 we need to... Yep, okay, so there. That's definitely dead. So does the 3... So that has to be there, which makes that the 3. That's a 2 now, and then this 5 is incomplete, and that 2. So crystal orb and a shield. Right, zeros. Okay, 1, 1, 1. So nope, nope, and yes. That's a 1 there, so that has to be the 1, which means that has to be the 2. That has to be a 2, and that's the 1. Silver coin increases time gains. Let's do that. Okay, what have we got? A 3 and a 1. Right, a 3, so we can overlap that. 1, 1, 1. Okay, so this is a 4, which we don't know. We know this is a 2 with a gap, so it has to be there. Gap 2. And they're all gone. So this 4 can't be there. That row's done. So there's only 1 left here. So it starts with a 1 as well, so it must be there, which is this is a 3. There's a gap, and we don't know. So this starts with a 3, which means it can't be there. This 3 is now here, so that's the 3. And that has to be the 4. So that's 4, so that's a gap. 3, that's a gap. So this needs a 1 and a 2, so that's there like that. This needs another 2, so that's there. A 1, a gap, a 2, and another 1. So this is a 1, which means this must start here. So that's the 3, the 1, and a gap, so that's the 2. And then whatever we do next in here, it's a 2, and these are both 2s as well. So come on, let's use our logic. What have we got? What do we understand? So a 1 and a 2, so any of these could be a 1, and any of these could be a 1 from above. And there's one more 2 here. So this needs a 1 and a 1, so that's definitely it, which means that has to be the 2, which means this is the 2, and that's the 1. Okay, not quite as fast as I like, but I feel like we're getting better with the logic. Let's do the boss damage and to avoid mistakes. Let's do the tougher one still. So we've got 5, 3, a 2 and a 2. Okay. So it can't be there. So we've got a 1 and a 4. We've got a 5. So 1, and that's actually the 1s. So that's the 5 there. Which excludes those and that. So what else can we exclude? So 1. So that's there. I thought that noise was us making a mistake there, so that's done. So that's a 1. So we don't know. So that one's for sure. No, we don't know if it's there or there just yet. So we know that's a 1, which makes that a 1, which means that's a 4. So this column's done. That column is done. Okay. I feel like we're doing all right. We'll see how we do when we get to the real difficult ones. They're both too expensive. Okay, we got a 5. Got a 4. So we can do the overlap. We got 3 and a 1. Another 4 for the overlap. Got 3 and a 1. 2 and a 1. Okay. So we've got a 1 and a 6. So that last one here has to be the 1. So this has to be the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, which means that's the 4. That's done. And these are both 4s at the end. So they must be like that. So we've done that column, done this one. This wants there to be a 2 and a 1. So that's like that. This wants there to be a 2. So that must be there. This one also wants there to be a 2. And a 1. A legendary. The merchant's bag adds 1 inventory slot. Have I just not been getting them, or have I been not noticing? So what can we... A time bomb. Fill in 25 empty cells, but remove 2 minutes. Okay, one more will fill the boss. We got 5. 4. Another 4. Okay, so we got a 3 and a 5. So actually we know this has to be the 5 here coming up. Then a space, and then that's got to be the 3. Whilst we know there's a 1 and a 1. And we've got a 3 and a 1 remaining. So we know this is a 3. And a space, that's done. That's got to be... Oh, I read that as a cross. There's our 2. So that's a 3 and a space. So we know there's one more here, which has to be there. That's also a space. So that can't be it because of this one. So that one's a 1 there. And we know that's a 2. There's another space. So one of these is a 1. That's a 2 at the end. So either one of these could be, I think. So that's a 3 and a 1. So actually, no, it's got to be there. So that's a 4. And that wants it to be a 3. So that's like that. So it's a 1, space, and then a 2. That's the 1 there. That's a 2. And then we want that to be a 2 and that to be a 1. I am slowly running out of time though. I think I'm still not solving these quite as fast as it would like. Let's do more boss damage since we're against the boss now. Oh, there's an item there. Maybe I have been missing the items. Fill in the cells in an area in a 5x5 grid. So what's your... You cannot place a cross. Well, that's going to be tough as we're still kind of just getting the hang of this. Okay, 3, so there's an overlap. 1, 1, 1. So that's done. I can't place crosses. So there's a 2, so it can't be there or there. Which means, yes. What happens if I try and place a cross? I just can't. Okay, so it can't be there or there. So that means that has to be a 2. If that's a 2, then that can't be a 2. That has to be the 2's there. This wants to be a 1 and a 1. So the 1 can't be that side, which means it must be this side. There's only one more here. None of these are 2, so that must be a 1. That could be the 1. But yeah, I think that's the one there, and then that's the 3. Okay, a 3rd damage. Okay, it's gone. Oh gosh, this is going to get difficult if we can't do our... we can't do our crosses. So 1, 1, 1, that's really unhelpful. 5 is pretty helpful. Actually, no, it's not. Let's do our bomb. Okay, so these columns are all done. So we've got 1 in this row, but there's none in that one. There's only 1 more left down here. This is a 2 and a 3, which means that's a 1. That can't be there, so that 1 has to be or here, but we don't know yet actually. So this is, we've done the 1, so this is the 3, so that must be there. That's a 2, so that must be there. So 3, 1, so one of these is a 1. And one of these is a 1. And in fact, that's got to be there because of the 2's. Oh god, we still got to go. Still got more to do. 4, there's overlap. Right, 3, 1 overlap. 3, overlap there. So what we got, that's a 2. Space, and then another... Oh, can't do crosses. 1, 1, 1, so that's a 4. So, oh sorry, a 3 and a 1 we know. A 1 and a 2 we do not quite know yet. What's this one do? Two and... Right, 1, 1, 2. I mean, that could still be a 2 down here. We don't know. Oh, 1, 1, 1, we know. So that's the 1. That's 1. So that has to be there. No, I was wrong. Oh, that was the 1. That's the 2. So 1 here. That's got to be a 2. And either one of those could be the 1. That has to be the 1, and that's the 1. Which means that's a 1. Oh, we got him. Very much the skin of our teeth there. I thought we'd lost that. Void worm. Right, let's heal ourselves. You've defeated the goblin. You've reached the end of floor 1. However, your flame continues to burn. At the entrance of... Oh, didn't have enough time to read that. Right, let's go up here and try... Oh, let's do this one actually. We'll try a level 2 difficulty. Right, a 3 and a 1. 9. We know the overlap is at least that much. Well, it is that much. 4 and a 1. We don't know. Right, a 3 and a 1. Oh, it's a 1 and a 3, not a 3 and a 1. So it's that way around. So we know that's a 2. That one's done. That's a 1 and a 2, so that has to be there. That's a 2. That's done. Oh, that's a 1. Thanks to our artifact. 1, 1, 1. 2 and a 1. It's a 2. It's a 1 and a 2 and a 1. Right. So we've got just one outstanding 1 on that row. So 1, Don't think we know which way that should be. That's a 2 at the end. Oh, no, misread that. That's a 2 there, which means that has to be 1, which means that's 1, and then that means that's a 4, and then that's the 1. Cause ruining. Increase the percentage of HP recovered at the campfire. We're not going to get to a campfire, I don't think. At 1, 1, 1. That's a 2 at the bottom. So that's a gap. That's a gap. That's a gap. That's a 2. So that's a gap. Don't know this one. So 3 and a 1. This is a overlap in the middle. So we've got a 2 here, so that's not it. That's not it. That's a 1, 1, 1. What is that? Oh, that's the timer click. I was like, what's hurting us? So this is a 3, first of all, so it now can't be there. It could be there, though. And this is a 3, so that can't be there either. So those 2 has to be there. 6. Space 1. Oh, we're dead. We're dead. Right, a 2 and a 3, so that's got to be there. 4, still don't know. There's a 1 here somewhere. A 2, that's got to be there and there. Okay, got a bit more of the hang of it there. We at least got through the first round. I think just a bit more practice just to be able to easily spot those configurations to get that done. Okay, done for real this time, guys. We've been playing CiniCross, available over on Steam. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!